We're going to de-winterize this guy. It's long overdue because we've had a lot of late spring, early summer snow, and the place we usually camp is about 5,000 feet and closed. So anyways, make sure to flush this guy out if you haven't used it. First, you want to fill up your tank with debris. I'm going to be using this and plug it into the city water connection first to get started. Also want to make sure all these guys are closed. You'll find out if they're not eventually, but just to start out, just saving some in and out headaches. A little bit of antifreeze leaked out here as we transported it to a new location, but I want to make sure that everything is shut off so that when I start flushing it, I don't have a mess. You see a tiny little bit of antifreeze leaked out of here, which is why I have this towel down, because this will stain the porcelain. And make sure these guys are off as well before we start flushing. If you saw my video from last fall, this little panel is a headache and a head bunker, so just a simple little way to keep things opened up. This, as you recall, is where the antifreeze is used to suck into the system, making sure that that is off. Also, just double checking, this is the truma, and valve is closed to the truma. I don't want to flush any antifreeze into the hot water heater. And then here is the mixing valve, which is open. We'll leave that open here when we flush it. When we get everything all flushed, we'll go ahead and close it up. That mixes the hot and cold water. So we've got the garden hose hooked up to the city fill here, and let's pressurize this and start the flushing process. So we're going to start with the kitchen sink. As you recall, there is no P-trap in here. It just goes right down into the holding tank, which is totally fine. We'll have antifreeze in there already. And for whatever reason, it's recommended to start with the cold. If I recall right, cold is down. And you can see plenty of antifreeze, exactly what I want to see, given that we get tons of freezing temperature here. I'm just going to run that for a while. Looks like it's clearing up quite a bit. Turn it off. We'll go up to the hot setting here and run that. You can see there we go, coming out of the hot liner. Plenty of antifreeze in there. It's interesting how this particular brand seems to foam. It could be the water as well. It's a brand new location for this. We'll go back to the cold again here. Sitting at a kind of a cockeyed angle, so kind of why this is all building up in here instead of draining properly. That looks, well, still a little pink there. I'm going to do this several times here. Let's go check out the shower. I'm going to go ahead and do the toilet first, and then we'll be doing the shower and that afterwards. There we go. Perfect. Keeping it going until it's clear. Looks pretty good. Let's check it again. All right, and then we'll do the shower, and you get the idea here. I'm gonna put this down because I don't want to make a mess. So on the Airstream, this little guy here, to shut off the water, it's not perfect, but it does make it a little more convenient to avoid a mess. You can see it nice and clear here. So we're done with the shower and the toilet. I'll have to do a bit of research. I'm not sure why it took so long for the water to actually clear up and get rid of that foamy consistency that you saw earlier. It seems to be on the hot. There's a little bit more foam and bubbles there. There you see it again. I'm not really sure what that is about. It is clearing up, but it's a little bit odd. We'll be disinfecting the tanks here before we use this for actually cooking and drinking, but there, it's clear now. So. Shouldn't be an issue with the stainless steel sink with the antifreeze causing any stains permanently, or at least nothing significant. Super happy about this. Has been sitting here all winter. I plugged it in once or twice, but it's kept its charge perfectly. And we are empty, obviously, and we got about 29% in the black tank from what I've done so far. So we're going to go ahead and get the bleach out and get that part of things ready. Depending on the size of your tank, that'll impact how much bleach you're going to put in there. I'm using a half a cup in my 16X BaseCamp. I'm not terribly concerned about it because I'm going to be flushing it thoroughly. I'm just using this to sanitize the lines overnight, and then we'll flush it tomorrow. Depending on where you live and where you travel to, different cities have different amounts of various impurities and chemicals in the water nonetheless, so we'll do a good job of flushing this out with the city water when we're done. I am in no way, shape, or form suggesting that a person drink or consume bleach. I've unfortunately cared for a few people who have ingested some lye, which is much more potent, and one patient with a commercial ingestion of bleach, which is obviously a significant problem. But what I'm going to do is pour the bleach into the hose here and then hook this back up to the fill. That's just a way to minimize just pouring straight bleach into the container there, and I'm trying to prevent myself from ruining some clothes in the process. So we'll see how it goes. We'll fill this up, let it sit overnight for about 24 hours, and then we'll go ahead and flush it a few times, and we'll show that in a subsequent video. Normally we fill with a special white hose that's connected directly to the house, but this is in a location which is quite a distance from that, so when I do actually fill it for the first use, we'll be using that as opposed to this garden hose which sits out in the sun and leads to some funky tasting water for sure. Also going to cycle on the pump here for a little bit. You can hear it going there a bit.